This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Prepare your pipes, prepare your homes.
11 children of God whose families are mourning. We don't want to lose one more.
32-hour shifts.
No one voted for Elon Musk.
You can go ahead and reform, but don't look at the books.
We are not seeing the rates of autism in children in other countries like we are in the U.S.
We are New Yorkers.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. High wind warnings are out for central New York and eastern Pennsylvania. Winter weather advisories for the lake belts. It's going to be minus 10 to minus 20 with the wind chill tonight. A doozy of a weather day. Texas's governor has a warning for everyone. They've got the same temperatures as Ole in New York tonight.
Prepare your pipes, to prepare your homes, to prepare your apartment, to wherever you live, to make sure that you will have it as winterized and safeguarded against this ultra cold temperature as much as possible.
Kevin has more in a few minutes. The state of Kentucky is under a state of emergency after people were killed from flooding there over the weekend. Governor Randy Beshear.
Already lost 11 people, 11 children of God whose families are mourning. We don't want to lose one more. So let's just make sure we're consistently telling our people out there, take it easy while you're doing it. It's one foot in front of the other. It's a lot of damage. It's going to take some time.
Breaking point. Corrections officers have staged a strike at 2 prisons across the Empire State. Workers aren't going inside, and those on shifts aren't allowed to leave. This is a union representative.
They know they can be fined and disciplined, but they're still standing here together with their families, and that's always forgot about, too. The families of what they go through when they're working 16, 24, 32-hour shifts, that it never stops, and they're being taken away and pulled in different directions. And then there's been incidents at Collins. There's been incidents all over the state where officers are being assaulted at record levels in the mandatory overtime, and something's got to give.
Hundreds of employees have set up burn barrels to stay warm outside Collins Correctional Center in Erie County and Elmira Correctional Facility in Chemung County. The prisons say the employees are violating the Taylor Law and can face penalties of up to 2 days of pay for every day they're on strike. Prison staff want to speak directly to Governor Kathy Hochul.
2 weeks ago, we reached out to her and said that we need to have a meeting with our executive board, and to this minute, we still haven't had a meeting scheduled. These guys know they're doing something they can't be doing so that they're heard, and they need to be heard, and they need to be heard soon.
Collins State Prison was locked down last week after inmates gained control of 3 dorms for hours. There are nationwide protests today, even in Washington, D.C., over Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency.
No one voted for Elon Musk.
We are here to make sure that those in the building in front of you know that we hold them to their oaths.
The demonstrations were organized by the 50-51 movement on what the group is calling, quote, Not My President's Day. Meanwhile, more than a dozen states have sued to stop the federal government from actions advised by DOJ. DOJ has called out billions of taxpayer dollars for not being used for their intended purposes. Law professor Jonathan Turley says he predicts more judges will be upholding the president's constitutional authority.
It's a bizarre type of argument. You can go ahead and reform, but don't look at the books. I mean, they obviously need to look at the receipts. They need to look at where the money has gone.
Steve Moore of the Heritage Foundation says DOJ assures federal funds will go toward desired programs like national defense, food programs, and social services.
If you believe in that, then why would you defend the waste and the fraud and the inefficiency?
Those that don't support DOJ say they take issue with the cutting of social programs, even those overseas, as well as the jobs of Americans working for the federal government and the freedom given to the DOJ team to look at sensitive records. A federal judge will issue a ruling by Tuesday on a lawsuit over Elon Musk's authority. Newly minted HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. spent the morning meeting with Monsanto, the pesticide company that owns the herbicide Roundup and has sprayed it on millions of acres of American farmland. farmland.
We need somebody different who can come in and say, I'm going to be a disruptor. I'm not going to let the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry run health policy anymore.
The magazine The Hill came out with an article Sunday saying RFK comes to the job with an army of homegrown supporters on both sides of the political aisle. Maha Moms, they're nicknamed, and many have followings of millions on social media, having witnessed firsthand what substances like glyphosate found in Roundup and red dye have done to their kids. Maha Mom, Caroline Carolero.
This chronic disease epidemic, pre-diabetic children, all of these different issues are uniquely American problems. We are not seeing the rates of autism in children in other countries like we are in the U.S.
Kennedy says Donald Trump has given him 2 years to show results on paper that this country is getting healthier from his changes. Crews are responding after a Delta Airlines flight from Minneapolis crashed at a Toronto airport today. All passengers and crew are accounted for. Pictures on social media show the plane upside down with what appears to be passengers walking away from it. Mexico is threatening to sue Google. The Mexican president says the Gulf of America name change in Google Maps is, quote, an inaccurate designation. Lisa Taylor has more.
President Trump signed an executive order last week changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said what Google is doing here is changing the name of the continental shelf of Mexico and Cuba, which has nothing to do with Trump's decree that only applied to the U.S.
And thousands of students sought Jesus in a huge Kentucky revival last week. 2,000 giving their lives to Christ in a single event led by the IF Conference and author Jenny Allen, which has been going from college campus to college campus since the pandemic ended. This is the sound of 8,000 students singing Brandon Heath's Gratitude on the University of Kentucky campus. Collectively, the events have brought in more than 70,000 college students. Allen says, quote, this keeps happening. It's insane. Only God could do this. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a state of emergency because of the cold, the why behind the great rock salt shortage, more bird flu cases in Pennsylvania, and guess who's back?
We know how to make this city work.
A little Cuomo, if you're FOMO. We'll tell you where he's popping up next after weather with Kevin Williams.
Bitterly cold air will grip our region for the next couple nights and days, and you're going to want to bundle up for sure. And if you're in the lake belts, especially off Lake Ontario, big snows are ahead. Tonight and tomorrow, partly cloudy and bitterly cold with gusty winds, some blowing snow, and lake effect that will continue heavy southeast of Lake Ontario. Low temps, single digits to near 10. High temps tomorrow, teens to near 20. And on Wednesday, some sunshine. Clouds may increase again later in the day. The Wednesday high, 16 to 21.
Single digits for the temperatures, and we're measuring in feet for snow for the lake belts. Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. The weather. Our top story, New York Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency as bitter cold settles in on top of the snow, ice, and wind that we got over the weekend. Matt Franklin is with the New York Department of Emergency Management.
We're definitely seeing a mixed bag across the state. It's giving everyone across the state a chance to see, what Mother Nature can do in the winter.
Sub-zero wind chills for much of the work week will make being outside difficult for any extended period of time. American rock salt in Livingston County, New York is the world's largest salt mine, and it's struggling to keep up with demand for rock salt this winter. It's distributed 300,000 more tons of rock salt this winter than it did all of last year. The rock salt shortage is also impacting several mom and pop hardware stores.
We have a continual battle to keep it in stock. We're using a multitude of vendors to refresh our supplies. It's coming and going quickly, so it's a constant replenishing battle.
Jason Gorecki runs a family-owned hardware store in Baldwinsville, New York. Over 100,000 new bird flu cases have been reported in Pennsylvania. The CDC saying 80,000 new birds were infected in Lancaster County and 20,000 at a duck meat facility in Cumberland County. Pennsylvania has seen more than 2 million birds affected by avian flu this year. It does not spread to humans, but it is impacting egg prices. And former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has released a campaign-like video that seems to suggest he's running for mayor of New York City.
We know how to make this city work and make this state safe for everyone, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
The video shows Cuomo talking to New Yorkers in East Harlem.
We are New Yorkers, and we are New York tough, and we know how to fight back and protect ourselves, and we know how to protect you, and we will.
It was released over the weekend as pressure mounts on Mayor Eric Adams to resign after corruption charges against him were dropped. Next at 5, a little education discussion with our own Bob Price. Let's listen in.
When it comes to the thorny topic of immigration, Pastor Dave Bretsch with the Beartown Road Alliance Church near Corning says Scripture is not silent on this issue.
I doubt that deporting all 11 million or so unauthorized immigrants is going to happen due to the immense amount of resources it would take. For most of us, our hearts and minds go to the children who were simply following their parents across the border, and many of whom were even born in the United States. And so I just hope that as the process plays out, that Trump and the leaders handle it with compassion and mercy first and foremost.
This debate has not just divided our country, sadly, it's divided the church. How can we, as the body of Christ, learn to accept and respect those who believe differently when it comes to a controversial and complicated issue like immigration?
Yeah, James 1:19. Dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life that God desires. And so I think, especially with such a complicated issue, just do more listening, do more research, ask more questions so that you'll be able to know the right response to give. It's like Mother Teresa said, you seek to understand, not simply to be understood.
Obviously, you care about this issue deeply. Why should Christians care about this issue?
Well, because we're to take care of the most vulnerable among us. I mean, you read the prophets in the Old Testament, that was the issue that God wanted to say through the prophets to the nation of Israel. You're not taking care of the least of these. You're abusing people. You're oppressing people. We should care about those who are hurting.
That is Pastor Dave Bretsch with the Beartown Road Alliance Church near Corning, New York.
You can subscribe, listen to, and share this feature and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Many workers are harming their financial future by doing this one thing. Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. I know that sounded like a clickbait headline, but there is, in fact, a particular thing many workers do that harms their long-term financial health. And it's this: cashing out a 401k retirement plan when changing employers. It has been found that more than 40% of workers do that. In most cases, cashing out triggers a tax penalty plus taxes on the withdrawal itself. More importantly, that money will no longer be growing in a tax-advantaged account to meet future needs. When retirement time rolls around, there'll be far less to retire on. So think twice before cashing out a 401k when changing jobs. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, the runaway dog that's captured the heart of New Orleans. We'll tell you how a city came together for his protection. That story after weather with Kevin Williams.
Bitterly cold air will be the main weather story through the next couple days and nights with sub-zero wind chills. The call for tonight and tomorrow, partly cloudy, blustery, and bitterly cold, with blowing and drifting snow in some open and outlying areas. There'll be some flurries around. Lake effect snow will accumulate several more inches easily, especially in areas to the east and southeast of Lake Ontario. Upwards of a foot in a few spots, and then a few inches as well southeast of Lake Erie. But again, that's the exception, not the rule. Low temps, single digits to near 10. High temps tomorrow, teens to near 20.
All right, Kevin, finally at 5, a neat story out of New Orleans where the city came together to hunt down a missing dog. Scrim, the white terrier, tore a hole in a screen and then dug out of the yard. And his owner, Michelle, put out an all-call online with her cell phone number. That's when thousands of people spotted the pup, but no one could catch him for weeks.
That's absolutely Scrim.
No, Scrim, no.
That's him. He's right there. Hi, baby. I've never seen Scrim in real life. I love you.
His owner, Michelle, was getting texts 24 hours a day. Videos of spottings went viral as the city looked for the small pup.
The videos, one of them had over 1 million views. And I'm like, you kidding me? All of these people are just sending me texts day and night, just supporting me in my efforts and saying, wow, what can I do to help you? How can I help? People wanted to see him safe.
They reported the pup on their Ring doorbell cameras and wildlife security cams. There was even a website set up where people could report him. Scrim shenanigans captured all over town. Michelle says she's given him lots of extra love since he was found and captured last week.
I think we all see ourselves in him a little bit. We're running from something. We're running to something.
She says sometimes we all need to be told it's okay. God's got you, and you don't need to run anymore. And that's the world that we live in for Monday, the 17th of February. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.
From the breaking news stories that are shaping your world to the issues that matter most to you and your family, Family Life News will keep you up to date on what's happening. You'll get the information you need and the faith-based perspective you want from a news team you can trust. Family Life News, covering New York, Pennsylvania, our country, and our world, with hourly newscasts, weekday mornings and afternoons, and our weekday broadcasts of the Noon Report and the 5 o'clock report. Family Life News, the news you need when you need it. A friend you can turn to, Family Life.